Hello, Patreon supporters. Thank you so much for joining me for this July monthly connection video. And I have to apologize because it is not the first Monday of the month. It's actually Friday. Is it the first Friday? I don't even know. It is the first Friday of the month. And I'm late. First time. So I apologize, but I did get back from Monday the 1st. Was the day I returned home from my overnight flight from my vacation to Minnesota and Wisconsin. So I was not extremely jet lagged, but just sort of punchy, and I was trying to do some self-care that day and relax a little bit and kind of ease my way back into the real world after vacation. But it's taken me a few days to do that. And then yesterday was a day off too because in the United States, it's a holiday. So a lot of people have it off. And we did too. And we were just hanging out with family and playing games and made ice cream and that sort of stuff. Just homebody stuff. And we cleaned the house. It wasn't like super exciting or anything. But it's a time for, it's a lot of fireworks here. And my dogs really freak out with fireworks, and we have to sedate them and stay home with them so they don't hurt themselves. Or one year they ran away, and just thankfully we found them and a neighbor found them. But anyway, 4th of July is not my favorite holiday for those reasons. And I have military vets with PTSD in my family, and other people I care about that have PTSD, and fireworks are not a fun thing for them. So I actually really dislike the 4th of July and don't celebrate it like anybody else. Well, I don't celebrate it like a lot of people in my neighborhood do with the loud fireworks and go to celebrations and stuff like that. And I don't actually even go to friends' barbecues anymore on those, because that was the year that my dogs ran away. Was I had gone to a barbecue and I was going to be home at 6:30 so that I could be at home with them during the major part of the fireworks display, but they'd already run away by then because people in the neighborhood start fireworks early, and they freaked out. So I stay home all day with them. Okay, so my vacation was awesome in that the first part of it, I went to my sister's house and stayed with her, and I hadn't seen her in 12 years or something. I think that's what it was. I thought it was 10, but I think we did the math and it was 12 years since I visited. Something like that. Anyway, it was a really long time, and I was nervous about whether she would still like me. It had been so long, and she was 13 years old when I left the house as a quasi-adult, and so I never really had an opportunity to build an adult relationship with her, and so I feel like we got a chance to reconnect, and that felt really great. And my mom was there, and I got to see my mom, and everything was awesome. So I was really happy about the way the vacation landed in that respect. I do have some on a related note, but not related to my sister or my mom, summer is kind of a drag for me. I mean, I love summer. I love the warm weather and the sun. It totally it's my jam. That's why I want to move to Costa Rica, because I really love the sun and the warm. But in the summertime, I seem so overwhelmed. There's so many places that I'm going and doing, and there's camping trips and vacation trips and conferences, and I'm traveling so much and so close together. I really like to space my travel so that I only do it a couple of times, maybe 4 times max a year. So once a quarter or something would be nice to go on a little trip or a big trip, whichever, but not back to back. And that's usually what happens in the summer, because in the Willamette Valley, our summers, well, it's a temperate climate. So it's not like we have months and months of cold where you're totally wrapped up in your own home, but like it is in Minnesota where my sister lives, but it's still, I don't know, a lot of it tries to get crammed into that June, July, August, maybe September part of the year. And it's just too much. And every year I swear that I'm going to, not take on too much and let it be a nice, relaxing summer. And I haven't seemed to been able to do that. And I'm not sure why. A few months ago, I listened to a podcast. It was a business podcast called Promote Yourself to CEO. And I think it was that one. It might have been another one, but it was a business podcast, and they were talking about having summer hours as a solopreneur, as an entrepreneur, having summer hours. And I thought, what a neat idea. I never thought of that, And I also have heard of, when you're a writer, you get to decide when you do your books and what your own production schedule is going to be. So I could decide that I'm not going to write in July and August. I'll do the other things that keep my business running, but I'm not going to create new content, and I'll just be taking those off. So that might help my mindset around overwhelm in the summer months. Maybe, I don't know. And it's too late to try that now, but maybe it's not. I don't know. It's already July, so it seems kind of a moot point, but maybe going forward, I'll have another plan for next summer about not creating too much stuff, because I'm looking at the calendar right now, and I just got back from a long vacation, and I have a book event this weekend, and Wednesday of next week, I'm going on vacation for another week, and then when I get back, another 10 days or so, I'll be home, and then I'm going camping for 4 days with my son. And then I'll be back for 3 days and 2 days, I think. And then I'm going to a conference, a writing conference. And then, the following month I have to go to a wedding. I want to go to a wedding, but I'm going to a friend's wedding. So it just seems like in the next couple of months, I have so many traveling engagements, and it sounds exhausting, fun, but it's hard for me to, settle back into routine, and I really enjoy routine, and routine helps me get things done and gets my goals met, and I like meeting goals because that means I get closer to my dreams too. So I like routine for that. And in the summer, I don't have a lot of routine, and I either need to be regimented and hold my routine and just say, this is the only way I'm going to feel good, so I have to just say no to all these other things I want to do and keep my routine so that I feel good and healthy and my well-being is, or I need to shift my mindset so that I totally let go in the summer and don't do anything and just take the summers off. So that's that. I have to kind of spend some time thinking about that. That's been on my mind lately. In the podcast, first season is over. I talked about all the nitty-gritty details of self-publishing, and I still feel like most of the topics that I covered could go into a deep dive, and I could do episodes where I really dive into that, one little aspect at a time. But I don't think I want to do that yet for season 2. So I am brainstorming topics for this upcoming season that will start July 17th. So if you have any suggestions, hit me up. Let me know. Email me, Valerie@ValerieIsanAuthor.com. Or you can leave me a message in the Patreon community. What else is happening? I was just thinking about the book Miracle Morning by, the one I specifically like. I've read Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, but also Miracle Morning for Writers by by Honore Corder. Oh no, I don't remember. I think that's who wrote it. Might have been Monica Lionel. I can't remember now. Oh no. And I don't want to waste time looking it up while I'm recording. So I'll have to double check what that is and let you know somehow. But anyways, it's called Miracle Morning for Writers. And I read it a year or two ago, and I just was just thinking about this morning in my morning routine. I didn't want to get up. I wanted to stay on the couch with the dogs and my tea and just read, which I don't know, maybe everybody feels like that. And it wasn't a particular problem that I was having. Maybe everybody was. But I remember when I read that book, my morning routine shifted dramatically, and it just made me feel so energized and so excited to start the day. And I don't know, it was a really productive part of my life at that time, and I don't know, I rode that wave for like 4, 5, 6 months or something, and then it started like dwindling, and I've never got it back. So I was thinking this morning that I should reread that book and try to get that like drive, that morning motivation back, so that my days are a little bit more productive. And the other thing that's making me not feel productive, other than it's summer and, you know, all this travel is happening, is, and I really struggle with this too, and I'd like to hear back from you if this is something that you struggle with, whether you're a writer or not. But I have all of these business plans and goals, and they excite me, and I can't wait to get started working on them. And I have a really hard time picking one and sticking to it, because I don't know if I'm distracted by the shiny, you know, new thing, or if I get to a place where it's too hard in one area, so then I want to switch to a new project. But then I don't get anything accomplished, because my mind is, I don't have that time dedicated to deep work. And I can't get the meat of it done before I switch to another project. And so then I just don't get anything done then. And that's not true that I'm not getting anything done, because I'm working hard, you know, every day, and I am making incremental steps forward in my various projects. But I feel like it would be better if I could just devote my attention to just one project. And I keep telling myself this same piece of advice over and over, and it's the same piece of advice that I give other people. And I remember reading a book, maybe I should reread this one too, called Productivity for Creatives or Creative People or something like that. And I've talked about it before on the podcast, I think. And it was just that part where it said, if you're working on you only have time to work on one project at a time. You do your daily work and one project. That's all you have time for. Don't do other things, or your daily work starts not happening, and then it becomes backlog, which is another whole project in itself, you know, and then you're just spread too thin and you're spinning your wheels and you're not getting anything done. So when I read that, I was like, oh, light bulb, light bulb, light bulb. And I refocused, picked my one thing, got it out there. And I think that was the podcast. Last time I was having this scattered moment where I was wanting to do all these things and couldn't settle on one project to its completion. And so I just sort of strung it along for a year. And that was the podcast. And this Patreon page. So I finally focused in, as you know, and got that up and running. And it's been really fun, and I really enjoy it. And now that it's kind of streamlined, finally, I can shift my attention to another project. And that other project, you know, I thought it was this one thing, and now I'm working on this other thing, and I really want to get back over here to this one, and I'm, again, in that scattered place, and I don't know if this is just part of my process, or if it's something that's not working, and so I need to fix it. So these are all things that are going through my mind this last month, and part of the reason why I wasn't jumping right back in for this monthly update for you is I didn't want it to sound like it was all doom and gloom or that I was all depressed about it or whatever. It is overwhelming me, and it is on my mind a lot, and I'm struggling with, making that productive choice and sticking with it. And the vacationing and the travel is a big distraction for me also. So, but at any rate, I just didn't want it to be like, I'm not complaining, I guess. I'm just wanting to share with you what's going on in my world and hopefully, building this connection with you. So thanks for listening, and I will see you next month.